Today we are diving into one of the most ambitious and honestly one of the most controversial books of the 20th century. We're talking about Oswald Spengler's The Decline of the West. Now, this isn't just a history book, it's a book that claims to have completely decoded the secret rhythm of history itself.
All right, let's just jump right in with Spengler's own words because this is where it all starts. He isn't seeing one single, continuous story of humanity marching forward. No. For him, history is more like a grand stage, playing host to these huge, separate dramas, the rise and fall of what he calls mighty cultures, each one with its own unique, unavoidable destiny.
And this is the massive question Spengler throws at us. I mean, forget that neat little timeline we all learned in school. Ancient, then medieval, then modern. Spengler says that whole idea is a profound illusion. It's a self-centered story we tell ourselves that puts our civilization at the very top of a ladder that doesn't even exist. So if history isn't a straight line, what is it then? Well, Spengler proposed a completely different model, one where our Western culture is just one of many. And, get this, it's certainly not the final act of the play. Okay, so this is the absolute core of his idea. For Spengler, a culture, with a capital C, it's not just a collection of art and customs and stuff like that. You have to think of it more like a living thing, a giant organism. It has a soul, it has a childhood, it has a prime, and it has an old age. It's born, it grows, it creates incredible things. And then, inevitably, it dies. And this is the perfect way to picture his main idea. He says every culture, doesn't matter if it's Egyptian, Chinese, or our own, goes through these same 4 seasons. It starts with a spiritual spring, full of myth. Then it moves into a super creative summer. That fades into a questioning intellectual autumn, right before the inevitable cold winter of what he calls civilization. So what does this theory actually look like in practice? Let's look at Spengler's main example of a culture that's already finished its entire life cycle, the classical world of the Greeks and Romans. He gave its unique soul a name. He called it the Apollinian. The Apollinian soul was all about the here and now. I mean, its ultimate symbol was the perfect physical body, right? The kind you see captured in a nude statue. Its entire world was finite. You could see its edges. Its math was all about tangible shapes you could hold, and it had almost no real sense of a deep, historical past or a far-off future. Everything that mattered was right there in the present moment. Okay, now let's turn the lens on our own Western culture. Spengler gave its soul a name that's pretty heavy, actually. It's inspired by the legend of Faust, the man who sells his soul for ultimate knowledge and power. He called our soul Faustian. And this is how Spengler basically defines us. The Faustian soul is never satisfied with the tangible body. Its ultimate symbol is pure, infinite space. We don't sculpt the perfect form. No, we paint the portrait to try and capture a person's inner life story. We're obsessed with time, with history, always striving towards some limitless horizon. Our math isn't about static shapes, it's calculus, the language of infinity. This comparison really nails Spengler's whole idea. You've got the Apollinian soul experiencing this static, present existence, symbolized by the statue. And then you have the Faustian soul, symbolized by the mechanical clock and the portrait, experiencing life as this relentless, forward-moving journey into the unknown. One soul is content with just being, while the other is completely consumed with becoming. And for Spengler, this is a huge turning point. The invention of the mechanical clock around this time wasn't just a cool technical achievement. For him, it was a profound spiritual symbol. It was the exact moment the Faustian soul began its unique, obsessive quest to conquer and organize time itself. So this brings us back to that really provocative title of his book. If our culture has already been through its spring, its summer, and its autumn, what does its winter, its decline, actually look like? So for Spengler, civilization is not the peak of a culture. He says it's its corpse. It's that final phase where the creative soul is basically dead. And what's left? Pure intellect, money, and this relentless, almost doomed drive for expansion. Great art gets replaced by mass entertainment, and the countryside gets drained by these massive, soulless world cities. And here's his diagnosis for us. He claimed the West entered this winter phase way back around the year 1800. So for him, our global conflicts, our massive cities, our focus on practical problems instead of deep philosophical questions, these are all just symptoms of this final stage. And it's mirroring the exact same path that the late Roman Empire took.
So 100 years after he wrote all this, we're left with this really unsettling question, aren't we? Was Spengler some kind of prophet, handing us a roadmap to a future that has now arrived? Or was he just a brilliant poet of pessimism, creating this powerful but ultimately false metaphor for history? Whether you find his vision terrifyingly accurate or just a grand, dark work of fiction, Spengler's work forces us to ask, what season are we in now?